walking out here on Plain Failure at startup, so I don't know if we got gas pressure last night or we had a factory startup on it, so we'll have to revisit what's going on. But having said that, what happens here is we got all these prints. You know these prints right here, they're all marked up, they show how the unit's wired, okay? Gonna call for hot water, it's gonna bring a boiler up, it's gonna send a signal over to this Tecmar controller. Okay, the Tecmar controller is gonna alternate the pumps. Okay? One pump, one boiler. They're totally isolated. So pump one comes on, it's gonna bring on boiler one. Boiler one's calling for the heat from the loop. It'll shut down. Okay? It'll start up boiler two. It'll start up the boiler two pump. Okay? We have boiler pumps and we have domestic hot water pumps. Okay? So, as I was saying, on call for domestic hot water, pump one comes on. Pump one's for boiler one, which is the liter boiler. It'll bring on that domestic red hot water pump over there. It'll start the system. It'll change the set point to 180 degrees. Okay? It'll alternate up to the second boiler if this system here is calling for heat, which right now we are. Okay? And that set point's at 140 degrees. Okay? We're maintaining 140 degrees in the primary loop. Okay? Going a little fast. You can ask questions afterwards. Alright? We sequence the pumps on the domestic hot water once a week. That can be changed. Just once a week it's going to make the lead pump boil one. Next week it's going to make lag. These pumps here are controlled by the BMS. These two here are your injection heating pumps. These two here are your condenser water heat pump. It's two loops, and I'll get into that in a little bit. I just want to stay on the boilers because they're right here. If the boilers are calling for heat, okay, they will run the boiler pumps only. Those are the green pumps. Each pump is associated with its particular boiler. Okay, so the bottom pump is only for the bottom boiler. The top pump is only for the top boiler. It's complete isolation with the hot water and the boilers. So if you lost boiler one, you still have the ability to make hot water and heat the building. Probably wouldn't work that well on a design day, but you probably could carry it. You probably get some complaints on some hot water. We have flow switches. So on a call for heat or domestic hot water, the pump will start. Right? It'll make the flow switch. It'll enable the boiler to start. Okay. The pumps are being told to be on by the boilers. The boiler knows what it's trying to do. Okay. If it's in a heating mode and it's got a call, and the leader boiler is the lead, it'll tell that pump to start. Okay. If the lag boiler, which we call, it's called the member boiler, it's member one. Okay. If that one is in the lead, this boiler here, the leader boiler always needs to have power to it, okay? Because that's the brains behind the operation in the cascade system. It modulates, it alternates between the two, okay? It knows which one it wants on it at a specific time. And that goes for when they're starting the pumps for the hot water, right? This over here is gonna tell which boiler is gonna be on for hot water, right? So the leader boiler, let's just say pump two comes on over here, right? Because the Tecmar wants two in the lead, okay? Well, the leader could have the top boiler on, right, for heat, because that's what it's supposed to be, right? Well, what happens is it'll know that pump two's coming on for domestic hot water. It'll reset that set point up there, and it'll bring the number one boiler on, turn on the boiler pump, and it'll set this boiler for 140 degrees. And this one will maintain the heat, right? It's all done through cascade, as they call it, through the locking bar. It's pretty, the books are all here. They're pretty reliable systems. I just got a little bug over here I've been working out. I got most of it the other day, but I think the problem this morning was that one being out.
Is that right?
I tell you.
So do I saw it said to reset. Should I just push the reset button and let it go on?
Yeah, but
See
I
what
wanted to
happened?
see.
Yeah, no, that's why I didn't
Yeah, I
touch
knew
it.
I was
If you
coming.
weren't here,
Yeah.
that's what I would have done.
That's what I was just gonna get to.
Push the reset right here.
Right, and then it's like,
I'm sorry.
then it should, it's right here is the reset.
Yeah, but you're gonna, the one thing is you gotta look at the top one too. You can't reset the bottom boiler. If the top boiler goes out on fine fan, you have to reset it up there. And the screen will turn red.
Right.
It'll flash red.
It'll color up all red.
You'll know right away.
Back in the
And when you come in, you can
gotta
look up
plug it in
top.
because it's almost
You'll be able to see it. We got a whole
You'll be
floor.
able to see when you walk through the door, if you look up at it from the doorway, you'll see the red. Because I saw it this morning, no problem, without even using the ladder. Then I took the ladder and went up there and they even said that it flamed out.
When it turns red, is there any indication on the screen itself?
Yeah, it'll say flame out.
Well, it'll tell you exactly what, it doesn't matter.
Oh.
It'll tell you what the failure is.
And that would be on the top one, up to the bottom, if that was when you
It won't show you, if the top boiler fails and it has the alarm on it, it will not show you on the bottom. But when you guys will be able to see it on the computer. Because what they're doing is they're tying this Modbus into a pack that goes back to the computer. Right? So the failure will come up on the computer. There's all kinds of backnet points that they can pull out of here that are going back to the computer, so you'll get all the alarms. Anything in here, you'll be able to see.
On the computer in the office or something?
Yeah, whatever points they pull off.
Okay.
That's all good. So you can see all the HVAC units and all that stuff, none of that?
No, the only thing you can see is the rooftop. Makeup air unit. We're gonna shut the tower down pretty soon. Okay, drain the water out of that, so we'll go up there. Alright. I don't know if Roddy told you, this your return pump for the whole, for the domestic hot water, right? That's set at 140, runs this pump. This pump's got 3 speeds, I'm running it high, right? High, low, medium,
Right.
okay? So, that's just the return. That's setting 140. Gets to 140, it's gonna shut off. That's what I said there. Pretty much you gotta restart. I don't even know why we put thermostats in anymore. You just run it all the time, so the thing's just running.
Put them outside too. Outside.
We got all heat pumps.
Yeah.
There will be some electric heat installed out there. So let's go over the loop, okay? We got 2 loops here. We have a, well, we got 3 loops here. First loop, right, is, we go with the condenser water. Right here is our condenser water, okay? This is going out. There's a 3-way valve right above the door up there that we either, it's a 2-position valve, okay? It either flows up to the tower and comes back, or it bypasses the tower and goes to the supply of the heat pump loop, okay? So right now, during this time of year, we totally bypass the tower.
Right.
Okay, we're bringing the water. That's 100% closed. We're bypassing. We go up to the supply of the heat pump loop, and then we come back on the return of the heat pump loop, and that basically comes down. It comes down this line right here. Okay. Excuse me, it's not that one. It's one there on top. Okay. So when it says heat pump return, that comes right across, goes into the air scoop, comes down into the suction of the pumps here. One thing you have to remember on this system, it is glycol. Everything's glycol. The hot water loop, the condenser water loop, the boilers, there is no makeup water. You should never add water to this system. We got a glycol tank over there, I'll go over that afterwards. Right? It's 30% glycol, it's 30% mixed propylene glycol. Right? So, the condenser water loop maintains the speed of these pumps off at differential pressure. Okay, that differential pressure is right outside the room, which I can show you. The more valves that open up, the less DP we got, the faster the pump speeds up, okay? These pumps here are the hot water pumps. okay? The hot water pumps, basically, they're these two pumps right here. If you look under the channel on, I marked them HP1, HP2, CWP1, CWP2, so you can get an idea where they correspond over here, right? We put VFDs on here, we're not running them, we're not ramping these at all, okay? We're running them at full speed. We need to run them at full speed in order to overcome the head of the other pump, so we can inject into the condenser water system. Okay? It's just they got a soft start on them, so they're a little bit better. So what we do, okay, on a call for heat, what happens is the controls company, ABS, they control this stuff here. Okay? So on a call for heat, what they do is they start the pump, hot water pump. They ramp it up. Okay? Then they give a command to the boiler to start. Okay? The number one boiler over here runs everything. So it gets a command for heating to start. There's a contact closure in there that tells the boiler to start. Once that starts, it does its cascade thing. Whatever boiler it wants to be on and lead, it'll put on lead, and the boiler will start, and it'll ramp up to 140 degrees. Okay? So as this ramps up, this will bypass, right? This will take and just bypass this loop here. If you look at that pump, HWP1, it'll come right down there. It'll go right back here. It'll come down here, back into this loop. And it'll just keep rat racing around until that three-way valve up there, which is controlled by the control company up against that wall up there. That's your injection. That's your injection loop. That's where we heat our water. Okay? So as the temperature of the loop drops, that valve will open up more and more. Okay?
Via the control.
Via the control. Okay?
Gotcha.
And they're measuring the water temperature on the system. Okay? And he's controlling that. He's controlling that valve. Right? So the more heat we need, the more that valve opens up. Technically, it really doesn't do much until it gets to about 50%, because they're butterfly valves.
Right.
So it'll open up. It'll open up. It'll open up. So he's got the pid loop. He's got the pid loop designed pretty good. It holds good temperature. But basically, nothing really happens until about 50%, because the one valve's open 50, the other one's open 50. Now it starts to close, right? And it'll force and inject the water into the loop. All right. And then it comes out. And the reverse happens, right? If he's all done with heating the loop, he shuts the three-way valve, and we just rat race here.
Around here.
And we rat race around. He lets the pump run for about 10 minutes or so, 15. So if we got a cold day, we need to call for heat again without cycling the pump on and off. So I had to put a time delay in at 10 minutes on the pump. The boiler was shut down right away. Okay? Because we don't need to heat the water anymore.
Right, it's
It'll
all
get-
ready.
And or if it gets to 140 degrees, it'll shut off and cycle. It could still be rat racing around, right? But you'll see what'll happen first is that valve will close. Then this will run for 10 minutes, and then it'll shut down. Okay?
You need to lay in the boiler on our resetting. Instead of once you reset it, stops right up, and lay it on.
Starts right up and it'll, depends upon what we're calling for. There's the boiler pump will, the only time delay would be on shutting off of the boiler. They run the boiler pump for a certain amount of time afterwards, but no, it's pretty quick. You turn on, you ramp up. Like right now, we're going for heat here. This boiler is in standby, but one thing you can do about this, we can go down. We can see that 30%, okay? We're in a cascade run mode, cascade on, running at 26. Well, this boiler's in standby, right? But we're running at 26, so that boiler's at 26% load right now. Now it's down to 20. It's already shut off.
each temperature.
That's one thing you can do. You can read the books if you want to get into them. These are really nice boilers, pretty rock solid. Yeah, they're condenser boilers. They are very efficient. They're very reliable. I got about 40 of these up at dam that we put in. We put them in all over the place. Customer service is very good at FIA. They treat us well. One thing you do have on these, I was getting back, right? Flow switch. Flow switch, whether it's the domestic hot water pump and or the boiler pump, that has to make that flow switch in order for the boiler to turn on. Okay? Really only two things, safety wise, we got a few things, right? These are low water cutoffs right there. Okay? Those are low water cutoffs right there, and they have a reset on them. They really shouldn't go out, but you know, in your event, you have a low water cutoff, you have a flow switch, so we're covered on the safeties. Okay? These are neutralization tanks, right? Right here. Those white tanks are neutralization tanks. Condenser boilers notoriously will run a low pH on the condensate. They condense, right? They're condenser boilers. They make condensate, okay? So when they make condensate, what's inside of there is basically a limestone, okay? Which brings the pH up to a neutral, okay? And then we're able to dump it down the drain. Those tanks ought to be flushed out once a year. You know, garden hose. They get pretty slimy, pretty icky.
Okay.
And you can also test them with the pH strip to see how they are. See how, well, just to see if they're still working, right?
Right.
And if you got a high pH, then it's time to change the rocks.
Okay.
Okay?
And then you get them anywhere?
Pretty much, right? All around supply houses.
Okay.
You'll know, a lot of the companies are putting their name right on them now.
Okay.
Shut-offs, we got isolation valves just about everywhere. This is the boiler. This is a boiler system sensor right here. This is wired back to here. Okay, like I said, boiler 1 is the lead boiler. It is the master. It needs power all the time. You lose boiler 1, you're gonna lose boiler 2. So if for some reason this shorts out or whatever, we gotta make some changes. Okay. we need to get that sensor wired into that boiler, stuff of that nature. We could get it by a pinch, but
Right.
The power drops are, they power sensitive, like you use
they'll
power.
come back
They'll
on.
come right back, yeah.
No, I'm talking about if you short something out,
Oh, yeah.
somebody shuts that off, you're dead in the water, right? You always want to make sure this boiler,
100%.
yeah. Okay, so all these pumps have isolation valves in them, okay? In the beginning, we missed 2, but we throw them back in because we want to be able to isolate the pumps in case, you know, pumps leak. Pumps leak, let's fail. Let's fail.
Yep.
So you have 100% isolation on all the valves.
Nice.
Boiler shut-off switches are right here. They're marked boiler 1, boiler 2. Okay?
Alright.
The boiler shut-off switches will shut off the pumps also, right? These boilers take and power up the pumps off relays that are inside the boiler. So if you shut that power down, say you have to work on the pump on boiler 1, right? You shut this switch off, you're killing power to the unit, and you're gonna kill power to the pumps, okay? Because that boiler, that bottom boiler tells this boiler pump when to start, when to stop. It also tells that domestic hot water heater pump down there when to start and stop, okay?
Okay, so it's, like you said, it's the leader, the controller.
Yeah, well, the same thing happens up there.
Right.
Up top, right, the same thing happens. That pump is controlled by that boiler, and that pump is controlled by that boiler.
I got you.
Okay?
Yep, I got you now. Yep.
Each boiler controls its own pumps.
Okay.
Basically, the master
So
boiler.
like if I turn this off, I got it now. Okay, good. So this will still...
You turn this off, you're in trouble.
Right, no, right, I know, it's the leader, I understand that. But you're also saying though that,
It's okay if it fails.
Okay.
Like if it goes out on flame failure,
Yeah.
it still has its computer, it still has, it has the cascade and communication.
Okay.
It's not a problem. It's when power's off.
Okay.
And if, all you have to do is put a jumper in up top on the enable. There's an enable circuit up there.
Yeah,
If you did that, then it would run off the limit switch, so it would heat up to whatever.
But that's in a pinch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a lot of things you can do.
And even at that, you can call the HVAC.
Right,
I'll do that for you.
I'd be like, Scott.
Not gonna be in there.
Right. So there's, there's plenty of things we can, plenty of things we can do. Here's the expansion tank for the system. Okay?
Yep.
We got an expansion tank here. Air scoops are up there. Listen, we got air vents on these things that we use during construction. I don't like to leave air vents on with glycol in them. Glycol and air vents, I've been there, I've seen it, Water, it's no big deal. Glycol, they tend to hang up, all right? So I leave them shut. If you got air in the system and you're there, you want to vent it while you're there. When you're done, shut them off, okay? I've seen glycol make, it makes a mess, all right? And we just as soon not have that, it gets slimy. But it is propylene glycol, which is good. Right over here behind you guys, if you want to go around the other side there, I can stay over here and talk. We got a glycol tank, okay? The glycol tank is set up automatically, okay? It'll come on if my pressure drops below my set point in there, which I believe is 35 pounds, okay? 35 pounds on the suction. So if I shut everything off in here,
Yeah.
it drops to 35, below 35, that'll come on. So this is extra glycol that we have here.
Okay.
Okay, that's for your use. All right, it's pre-mixed, it's good stuff. It's just we ordered probably about 30 gallons more than we needed. So we left it in this barrel, and that can be pumped into there later on.
Oh, the last 2 weeks full.
Well, it all depends if you have leaks. Okay? If you got a leak in the system, this thing's gonna be coming down, so you gotta kinda be, you should never make up glycol.
Okay. Yep.
Much.
Much.
Unless you
Like a
ever
gallon, 5 gallons.
once we get the air out of the system, all my air vents are closed.
Okay.
So right now, you shouldn't be going through any glycol,
Whatsoever. Okay.
right? But if you have somebody that works on a heat pump, right? And they take you swap a heat pump out upstairs for some reason, right? Put a new one in,
Right.
right? You may
It's
add
going
a
to
little-
drop and I'm going to have
yeah,
to
'cause
add.
you probably got a couple of gallons of glycol that's in that system.
Yeah,
So
I
then
gotcha.
this will come on. But normally, if everything's smooth and nothing's going on, you should not run out. You shouldn't lose glycol. If you come in here and that tank's down 2-3 feet, you better start finding out where the glycol is going.
Okay.
Right?
Got it.
Let us
Got
not.
it.
Market, huh?
Listen, you got to remember, it's not just this building; it's the restaurant. So when you have an issue, say over here, go to the restaurant and say, "Hey, did you do any work?" Right?
Okay.
So you're not running around chasing your tail. Maybe they had to, do something in the restaurant.
Okay.
Right? So
So that is for the restaurant and the building.
yeah, it's all one loop.
Okay.
Okay, and there's a BTU meter right here
Yep.
where the owners are going to be charging them for usage.
Okay.
Okay? They're gonna be charging them to get money back. Alright? There's valves all over the place here for isolation. You pretty much can isolate anything. Alright? It's not that difficult of a system to understand, but it is it is in the beginning just a little bit. There's prints over there to show one-line drawings to show everything. If you're mechanically inclined and you know systems, then you'll figure it out. The drawings, I highlighted the drawings and made all the changes, so everything, that's as-built right there. All right? So whatever's on that drawing is true to form. Okay? And that valve right there, I think we can shut off right now. That's the cool tower one. Right, Rodney? Is he still here? Rod? Is that cool tower?
Yes,
This right here?
Water? Right
yes, that's the feed going, this is the feed going up.
Yeah, shut that off. We're gonna mark that too.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna end up draining that. You guys have any
Leave that one
questions?
open.
Oh,
This is only for test purposes for the back.
Okay, very good. All right. Yeah, very
If you,
good.
once you're ready to, if it's a bad one and you have to install one, you just shut that one, isolate this one.
yeah, leave it.
You know, it'll drain down through the 3/4 pipe there,
Yeah, I see that.
and then you
yeah.
can change it.
Okay.
All right.
Very
But
good.
for the most part,
They just stay
installation
the way.
we don't put unions on, but that might be the suggestion for you if you have to change it.
Okay.
All right.
Oh no, I'm calling you, bud.
So what's happening is we were kind of like just sucking fumes back in.
Got it. It's not a healthy thing.
No, it's all taken care of now. All right, let's go up to the roof, I guess. Gas fire. 100% outside air. It's got to try to maintain around 55, 60 degrees. Right around there. It all depends on the outside temperature. It's going to reset. It's going to cycle, but when it gets colder it gets outside, it won't cycle as much. Just the way it is. I got some of the other buildings do the same thing. Pretty reliable. It's been running since the day I started it. There are no belts on this unit. All right, just filters. Filters. These are your outside air filters here, washable, metal mesh, clip here. These are the ones you're going to pay attention to, and the ones inside. But these ones here, if you don't clean them and they
go bad
get packed up, they'll push in, collapse.
Okay.
And every few years, like maybe every 5 years, you gotta buy new ones. They just
How often
deteriorate.
you clean that?
Me?
No, I'm saying how often.
No,
do
I'm
you
just
clean
saying, yeah, cleaning them. You should be looking at this unit at least every 3 months.
Okay.
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 That's nice.
Oh yeah.
Here we got filters here, 4 of them, 20 by 25 by 2s. Okay. Outside air filters. Got coolant coil. Few controls for differential pressure. This is an idiot switch that tells you when the filters are dirty. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
That's good. Mine, you say it's true, mine got all messed up, that dirt in it, broke inside, like you said, it bent inside,
Yeah.
birds and shit.
Right. This is a compressor section. These are neat little compressors here. These are scroll compressors. This one here is a two-stage scroll. So you'll hear things, you'll hear it load and unload. It does it through this solenoid valve here. It's so that, during low conditions, maybe it's 60 degrees outside and we need mechanical cooling. So they'll run this and then it'll load and unload so it's not cycling on, cycling off, DX cooling and outside air for years has been kind of tough with cycling, and so that's what they do here. So you'll hear some funky noises if you haven't heard it before. You'll hear the thing load, unload, load, unload. It might do it quite a bit. Nothing to worry about, it's kind of normal. Sight glasses, really can't go. I don't know why they put sight glasses on 410A. The factory puts them in, but there's a lot of pressure drop that happens across them, and 410A will flash in the sight glass. So if you see that thing bubbling, don't add refrigerant to it. Don't add refrigerant to it. You gotta do it through the manufacturer's instructions. 410A you cannot charge by sight glass. It's a finicky refrigerant and you will overcharge a machine like that. 1 pound. It's not like R22.
Right.
R22 is a beautiful refrigerant. I'm going to miss it immensely.
Right.
Smoke detector. Okay?
Yeah.
This is a smoke detector for this unit. Right? The reset is not here, it's on the other side. If this trips out, it's going to shut the unit down. Having said that, we have fire dampers on all the floors, right? We have fire dampers on every single floor. In the event of a general alarm, all those dampers are shutting, and this goes down. Okay? That's not the way they had it in the beginning, but I made him shut this down. There's no sense in having all the dampers closed and the fan running. So, alright, there's a frequency drive right here. This frequency drive is running at full speed because it needs to. Aeon puts the freak drives on the motors so the balances can balance out the system nice and easy. There's no shift changes, there's no nothing. First of all, the motor's a direct drive motor. Okay? Well, I don't know about nice, but that's what it looks like. It's no belts, but I'm not a big fan of them. Every time I get them on the job site, they gotta adjust them because shipping
Summer balance.
yeah, it's just that they're made out of small, aluminum, and when the trucks hit the big bumps and everything, they tend to just move a little bit. So once you get them all set up, they're pretty good. All right, these are nice compressors, decent machines. You got service outlets over here, electrical outlets. You got light switches over there. Yeah. You have to be careful in these units when you shut. Sometimes when you shut this switch off, okay, there's a lighting circuit in there. It's going to be lit up, okay? I'll show you on the other side, there's lights. So if you shut this off, you may not be shutting the whole power down on the unit. So just beware.
Oh, okay, very good.
Shows the main disconnect, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. Yeah, this one doesn't have lights. Right? Oh, you asked for resets. Not really. Hold over here. Resets on the high pressure switches. High pressure. If those are going on, it'll try 3 times. If it doesn't light within 3 times, it'll hot lock out. Right? And here again, that's the back nine interface right over there, the one that's got the blinking red lights on it right there, the Orion control. So that's going downstairs, and you should be communicating with the front end. So you should pretty much know what this unit's doing. You can reset the temperatures from the head end. If it's comfortable, leave it alone. You get 1 or 2 complaints, don't touch it. You get a whole bunch, then you got to do something. If you have 1 or 2 people complaining, leave it alone. It's been running pretty good. All right. So
I like that. There's 1 or 2 people. Got a whole building full of people and 2 crying.
Yeah, you know what?
Time they got.
Yeah, when I first got in the trade, right, I tried to make everybody happy.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's it.
I learned real quick.
Yeah, me too. 1 or 2 whiners. That whole building full of people.
Okay, we got that fan right there is a restaurant. Okay, that fan right there is a restaurant. Okay.
That looks like a place.
Fan right here, restaurant. The rest of them on this roof of yours. This one over there. These have belts on.
And this one's a restaurant. Going in the same
Trunk, just a shaft.
Okay.
Separate ductwork. Sorry. All right. Go up on this nice deck. You got 2 more here.
Bill, fans.
One right behind this house. Okay, right behind, around the back side. Okay.
When these servicing?
Toilet exhaust. All right, next thing we got here is a cooling tower. So we got a good vantage point. I wanted to bring you over here just so you can see. Okay, that's called an evap condenser. Okay, so what we have up top is a set of dampers. Okay, and that's the first stage of cooling. Right, when we allow water to come up here on glycol, right? The first thing that happens is those dampers will open up and it'll be a natural convection of heat rising up. Second stage will be the spray pump, right? We got sump water on the bottom, and we have a pump on the outside. Up inside of this thing is all coils, okay? And the glycol flows through the coils, okay? So what we do is we pump water up and over the top, and then the water sprays over those coils, gives up its heat, and throw it outside. Third stage is the fan. Fan will come on a quick drive, it'll ramp up as needed, okay? You probably won't see that thing running full speed unless you're on a 90-degree day and everything's calling, right? We're gonna go over there now.
Cats out here. Hit the deck.
That was the next one. Is that a gunshot?
I don't like being up on the roof with that going on. That was 3 of them.
Yeah. No sound of it.
Not at high power.
John, open the door.
No. 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 Careful the edge.
Yeah, right. Right now, so different, you know?
So we got supply and return temperatures here. Water coming up. Okay, water in, water out. Okay. We've got isolation valves, drain valves. We're not draining it. We leave the water, we leave the glycol in there year round. Shouldn't be a problem. They're measuring the temperature here across. You'll be able to see that on the computer. We've got a set of heaters in here. Right? Those heaters are gonna keep the water from freezing in the sump. We got a load of water in there right now, right? Okay. Well, disconnect switch, shut it off. Okay, which we're gonna do because we're gonna drain this thing now. Okay. Here are our drains going over. They're gonna dump in, and disconnect switches are over here. That's the drain, the sump. You're gonna see the water start to dump over there. You may have to fill this back up if it gets really, if we get an Indian summer day. May have to fill it back up. Heaters, you shut the heaters off. Otherwise you'll burn them out. No water. They have a water sensor in there, but sometimes most times they work. Right? So we're gonna dump the water out of here. And then right over here is our pump. We've got a little drain on the pump. I'm going to open up. I'm going to climb underneath there. That's going to drain out the water on the pump. All right.
Okay.
We got 2 disconnects. Small disconnect is for the pump. The big one's for the fan. We got a float inside there. Water makeup coming in. shut that off, right? Got a float in here, right? It's just a mechanical float. It's like your toilet bowl. That's what maintains the water level. This here should be shut at all times unless you're starting it up in the springtime. You can open that up, purge the air out of it. Makes it a little bit easier to get the air out of the pump. Okay? Dump it out. So we're gonna dump all the water out of there, and then I'm gonna open up that little petcock. It's a little bleeder, and then we'll get all the water out of that pump. Here's your last exhaust fan. We'll spend a minute up here, and then we're gonna go down the stairs. And I'll show you a few heaters we have in the stairwell. Cut. Needed to push that in auto, right? Fill up the sump. Call me if you need to.
Okay.
We'll step you through it. Yeah. But these are your relays right here. Okay.
Yeah.
These are our relays that are going to come from the EMS. You see that lit? You know it's calling.
Okay.
Same thing. This one's for this one. Okay. I just wanted to show you where these are. I'd shut this off too. Alright?
Alright.
You don't need to. You won't need that for a while.
Okay.
Till springtime.
Okay.
No sense in wasting the energy. You know,
Okay.
running the fan. You'll be all set. If anything, you'll need the spray pump. That's about it.
Okay.
You know, you might have to run that, but like I said, call me.
Okay.
It's just going to be on an Indian summer day when it gets real warm. You might need, you know, we're getting into December.
Right. It's gonna get cold.
And I just soon drain the tower now. You know, that way we don't have to worry about it. If you need to fill it back up, you can.
Okay.
So, right?
Yep.
And you'll know
Yeah.
if we get complaints.
Okay.
Okay, now let's just talk about the heat pumps themselves. We don't have to. Heat pump's a heat pump. You guys all pretty much have seen these, right? Keys, filters, right? Thermostats, they're pretty easy. I got about, I don't know how many million copies of the books downstairs I left here.
Okay. Very
But
good.
There's quite a few of those for every thermostat. There's 44 units or something.
Yeah.
Pretty simple. You have any lockout problems, you could try, just reset them at the breaker. Right, just hit the breaker in each apartment, you know, boom, try that, see what happens, you know. We didn't really have any problems with the heat pumps themselves. We started these up. I had 44 of them, and maybe a couple of thermostats I had issues with, which he's just on the display.
They Honeywells, where everybody sets
No.
them themselves.
They're downstairs, they're smart, I don't know where we got 500 of them over the water side right down the street, so.
Just want to walk in an unoccupied unit and show them real quick?
Sure.
Yeah. 506 should be open. There you go.
Good question. No.
Yeah, so.
The other way.
Right.
Yep, pretty simple. So instead of the breaker,
Right.
you just hit the switch, right? Don't do this that fast because it won't reset it. Right? You got to give it about 10 seconds or so. That I know because I just did it down the other building. And I was watching the light. It'll give you. This will give you. You pull this cover. Obviously, you got to take this cover off first, and then you pull this off. On the back side of this comes a wiring diagram, and excuse me. It'll tell you the code. Blinks once, it's going out in head pressure. Blinks twice, I don't remember. Blinks 4 times, it's going out on freeze, basically. And what that means is that the condenser's getting too cold in the heat mode. It's probably a full problem, right? But everything's in the back side of this.
Condenser lines run down the back.
These here are not sure, they could be on the sides. It all depends on the configuration. They're stackable, right? So
Right, there's a pan underneath there, in case the,
What's that?
there's a pan underneath the
Yeah.
whole unit, in case the line clogs up.
That's typically how they are, and then, you know, like this is probably a back fit, you know, so it's lined up right on the next heat pump below. They braze the
Yeah,
pipes
right
together
through.
and they go right down, right?
Is there a delay in the startup on this after you put it on?
Yeah, it's a random. It's random. So, you know, you give it 20, 30 seconds, and you'd be all set. And the thermostat will come back up, but let's just go over that quick. These here, they're lit up.
That's set.
What's that? It's automatic, right? These have an automatic mode in them. Right now, the cooling set for, when you look at, the large number is the actual room temperature, and the smaller number here, okay, on the sides is set points, okay? So we're set for 73 on cool, 68 on heat. If you want to just, you can run just heat. If you just put it to heat and just, you know, have the highlight heated without the cool, it'll just try to run it in heat mode. It won't be in the automatic. It'll be an automatic, but just in the heat mode, right? So it won't flop back and forth from heat to cool. You can have it off too, right? You just keep pushing the button, right? So now I hit it again. That's my cool set points. If I want to run it in cooling, I just leave it on cool, right? Just the cooling and whatever the set point. And if you want to change the set point, you just move it up and down. You just move your button up and down, right? It's pretty simple. And then hit the button again. Now when they're both shown, they're in the automatic mode. Okay? When both of them are lit up and they're in the automatic mode. These don't have time on them, do they? I don't think. Let's see. No, these don't have. These aren't programmable. So this doesn't have a schedule, so you can shut them off, turn them on. The ones down the street do. So.
Okay. So it's totally up to the person living
Yeah.
here.
They do make them, because I have them down the street.
Right.
But here we just have on-off control.
Sweet. Simple.
What there is in here is what you may want to end up using. That's going to be my suggestion. This, in order to do any of the configuration settings on this thermostat, it has to be in the off position. Okay? So like right now, if you look at this, right, I'm lit up on my cooling and my heating, right? This is all in the book, but right, it's not going to work. If I try and hit the configuration button, nothing's going to happen. I can't get into the config mode because it's on.
Okay.
It's on.
So you gotta turn it completely off.
So you got to get to off, right?
Right.
It says off.
Yeah.
Now you hold the button. Okay.
Okay.
Now if you get somebody that's European and you want them to
Do Fahrenheit.
to Fahrenheit and Celsius, right?
Yeah.
You can do that.
Yeah.
All right. The next mode is differential. You kind of want to leave that one alone. This one here, 4 or 5 degrees. They come through factory set at 6. It's kind of a wide deadband.
I gotcha.
I like to run them a little bit closer.
Deadband.
This one here, this needs to be set at 0. And these thermostats, it has to be set for 0 on the heat pump because it energizes the cooling valve. Okay.
Right. Right.
When you're at B, it'll energize the reverse valve and heating, right? So.
Always on 0.
Okay, always on 0. You can lock the thermostats out if you wanted to. Excuse me. They're paying for the electricity. You're probably not going to use that option. But the next one, your high set point, I'd leave it at 90. If they want to turn it to 90, let them. This is the one that I would make sure, and I've set them all at 60.
Okay.
I don't want them, they will not be able to set this thing down below 60 degrees,
That's good.
right? And I even think 65, especially on the cooling, because they'll freeze them up. You know, if they try to get them, 2 things. A, you don't want sprinklers popping.
Right.
And you don't want freeze ups, because something that freezes up is gonna cause water damage down below.
Okay.
Right? So, I mean, at this point, we just set them at 60, but you can change that if you wanna, if you wanna go up, right?
Right.
And you could say, okay, the lowest I want is 65, but you gotta remember, if they turn it off, doesn't matter. If it's off,
Oh,
it's
if
off.
they, yeah, if it's off, it's off.
If it's off,
Gotcha.
it's off.
I got
This
you.
is more for when it's running,
Okay.
you know? This is more of a cooling, for me, it's more cooling, right? People tend to peg the thermostats, right? And what happens? They run, then they freeze up, big ball of ice, and then you got a
Yeah.
mess in your hands.
Right.
So,
So 60, you set them all, Scott, at 60?
yeah.
Yeah, then we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah,
I won't
see.
even let anybody know about that either.
No, and if you find out that people are, freezing up the units, setting them down, you can just come in, boom, boom, hit it. They don't even know,
Okay.
right? Set it up to 65, whatever you want,
Okay.
so it doesn't happen again.
Okay.
Could the tenant inadvertently shut everything off?
Yeah, by just shutting, by getting out of here, not inadvertently, but you can do it. You know, during the shoulder months, right? A lot of times you don't want to run it. You want to open your window.
Yeah.
Right.
Just put this off, and that's fine. You know. Most of these end apartments, they have heat on them over there, baseboard.
Oh, right, electrical.
Electric baseboard. Right.
And that thermostat controls that? No.
Thermostat's right on.
Direct applied thermostat.
Okay, very good.
Excuse me.
Oh, right here, the knob's missing, I get it.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was on there before. That was the electrician, but maybe somebody took them off. I don't know. What we did with all the diffusers, I made sure that they're all pointed down.
Right, pulling down.
Yeah.
So they can feel it.
Well, heat rises, right? So
Yeah.
we want to make sure we get as much heat down to the bottom as we can. You know, in the bitter cold months, you might have to, have them on that. Nice. Here's an exhaust fan right here, just to show you guys. Anytime there's an exposed exhaust fan, you have a fire damper, right? So in the event of a fire, that damper's gonna, that damper's gonna end up closing.
Yeah.
All right, and it's a smoke fire damper, it has a reset. Anywhere where there's exposed exhaust, this is all.
It's only 2 units, it's 506 and 509. It's
Okay.
basically, this is offset to avoid the roof deck. That's kind of the reason why it's
Underneath.
underneath like this.
I got you.
And there's not a lot we can do about,
The sound.
yeah, it's tough,
Well, I know that off-balanced fan, the guy on the second floor, it sounded like he had helicopters landing in his bedroom.
The second floor?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, well, with all the wood and everything else, it just magnifies it.
Is that the one that the bracket was missing?
Yeah.
Or the fan?
No, the one where it was the one in the far corner, so it was the fan itself. It was all offset. He had tried to adjust the pulley wheels on the top of the fan.
So he's gonna get a new wheel?
Yeah. He said something about it being machined. It could have been machined wrong from the factory.
All it takes is they drop that thing, they're just aluminum wheels, so the guys put them in, if they just, if they drop them or, coming off the truck or whatever, they're just
Right.
aluminum wheels, it doesn't take much stuff.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Throw
take
them
much.
off, kill it.
So we're gonna order a new wheel for that, so. Other than that, guys, it's,
How do we control the heat in the stairwells
Oh,
and in the
yeah.
hallway? I need to know.
the hallway, yeah, good point. You're not gonna control the heat in the hallway, really. It's based off the discharge there.
Okay.
And you will be able to eventually, when they get the computer in, when they had it set up, you'll be able to look at it.
Okay, great.
Okay, but that's one thing I did want to show you. Right here. Right here is all the rooftop stuff. I didn't want to leave it up in the unit. That's a
Okay.
handheld for the guy, anybody that comes and wants to, service it.
Okay.
That's how you can get in there. You can get in there through the back net. Once the head is set up, you'll be able to do basically the same thing.
Okay, on my computer. If I'm not around for him to get on mine,
Yeah,
he uses
But
that.
this is all the drawings and
Okay.
the books on it. I brought them down here because I didn't want, you leave them up in the unit, they're just gonna get wet,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, This is the stuff for the frequency drives. Really don't need them, but we can take care of any issues. That's about it. There's nothing.
For stairwells, those
stairwell.
units.
Yeah, let's go. Let's do that stairwell because that's the. Okay. That's the one that's got the most heat in it. Why a little warm in the stairwells? Yeah, that's where the gas main comes up, by the way.
No, it's actually not too bad today, but there were times where
Find that door, that's where the gas main is.
there was piping at one time. It was really hot.
Yeah, well, I turned it back.
Okay, you did recently.
Well, you gotta remember, this thing was all white, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Everybody and their brother was.
Open indoors. Let's go there.
This stairwell, we got 2 meters in there, and the other stair, the inside stair, we have a, one here and that one. Just keep going, you'll see. Anyway, here's the other, okay.
Feel it. Yeah, I feel it. Feel good. Feels good.
There it is.
Yeah, feels good.
See, it's not that warm, it might be warm here, but it's not that warm up top.
No,
This is
it's
the
a lot
easiest
better.
one to get to, but right here. Right?
Oh, I see
There's
it,
a little
yeah.
dial there.
That's the thermostat for
Yeah,
it?
it's a thermostat, you dial it up. Usually counterclockwise, and then it goes lower temp.
Right.
Okay?
I turn it off. Same thing. On the knob turn off.
You don't want to turn it off.
No.
You have sprinkle lines through here, to
Yeah.
the stairs. You
There's
don't-
another one right there, by the way, right near the door.
These service all the way up to the 5th floor.
If you
So you-
notice, when we got out on the 5th floor, it really wasn't that warm up there, was it? It
No.
was comfortable, but
It was comfortable, yeah.
Especially if somebody props a door open up on the roof to try to service something up on the roof, you're gonna be.
The reason why I
Asking
asked
for
you-
trouble.
the reason why I asked you because at the other building, the knob was messed up and it stayed hot. I tried to turn it off, it stayed hot. The knob was messed up, malfunctioning.
There's another one here,
Right.
right? This one's satisfied, but same thing, same area. All right?
So they'll come on and off as they satisfy
Yeah.
heat.
Sure will. That one's set a little bit different. And there's another one on the interior stair, same thing,
Yep.
right? And we're gonna have 3 more, like I said, one in the boiler room, one right there,
Right.
one in the trash room, and one in the electrical room. We're waiting on Sully Mac to install.
Okay.
They've been procured and everything else, we're just waiting for installation. You guys got any other questions?
I'm good.
No, just
Oh, let's go back on this one.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it does happen.
It's like 110 degrees.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, man. You got to turn it off. Man. It does happen. Case.
Can you start?
Right. Okay.
Just one more, yeah. Well, actually, another electric heater up front too. Hey, this is the lobby unit, okay? This is a heat pump, this is a horizontal, it's the only horizontal we got. And it's up over the, in that glass office. There's an access panel out there.
Right, I saw that, yeah.
I brought up some food bottles, paper towels, and just trying to get rid of that for right now. And then I'll
But,
jump.
yeah, he's probably for sure. Here's your thermostat, it's a conventional Honeywell, set up for a heat pump. Works really good. Right, we got a nice little buffer here. Right. So that really helps you. You got another electric heater over here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Might want to turn this one up. You know,
Okay.
might want to just
A little bit.
find out where it's coming on and not off that. It was working and something must have shut it off. But we got sprinkler pipes on here, so that's
Yep, so
an
we keep
important
it
area
warm.
just to, you know, down here, temperature, you don't really care about. Up there is where you care.
Okay.
Just keep it warm enough to keep from freezing.
All right. Very good.
So,
That's easy enough to do.
I think that's it.
I didn't.
Awesome.
One more. Let's just go to the hallway.
And they cheese work.
Drawings, and that didn't show, that's not right, and that column's not right.
Oh, so what?
I just want to keep my head in here. Alec, this guy, that one right there, okay?
Yeah.
There's one right there.
And they're all the same way, right,
Yeah,
Scott?
same thing.
On you, yours?
No, I have none.
There's one in that hallway right there at the bottom. Same as the rest of them.
Okay.
Okay? Wonderful, thank you.
All right, thanks. Good job, Scott.
Thanks a lot.
No, you bet.